Alright guys, in previous video we are done with this setup, and now let's move on to creating some bases, creating some controllers and models and views. If you visit our site, we have already created one authentication system, and I have created a user, and using that credential I can log into the site. We have done this by using Laravel default authentication system. The first thing I want to do is create a model and controller. To create a model, just type in PHP artisan make model. I want to create a to-do model, and type -m to create migration as well. We have created our model and migration. Okay, so if you go to app, you can see that there is one new PHP file here with a class name of to-do. Our migration file resides in database migrations. These two migration comes with Laravel by default, so these are already there. The next one is migration, which I have created now by providing this flag -m. So what this has done is it has created a blueprint to create our database. Okay, so there are two methods here. The first is up method and there is down method. In up method we create whatever kind of table we like. You can define that table here and you can just use it. And the down method here will kind of undo the things you have done up here. Since we are creating a table here, we are dropping that table on down function. It will serve as kind of undo function for your database table creation and all that. Since we are generating this from artisan command, it comes with quite a few boilerplate already set up for you. So all you have to do is set up your tables. So in this case, I just wanna create few fields. The first field is integer, and in this field I want to store user ID. Okay, the ID of the user who created this special task, and I want to create another table, another column. This would, I think I will use string, and this column will store the user's task. So let's say I'll give the name to do, and I think that's it. Since it is absolutely basic to do app with very low functionality, but even though it has very low functionality, it is I'm trying to use it and trying to build it to show you the basic CRUD operation, that is create, read, update and delete, how we can do these operations. And basically once you know how to this full operation, every website is some form of CRUD, so it will be really helpful for you. And before you move into complex CRUD operations, I think you should try and do some basic, very rudimentary CRUD operation to get your feet wet and be prepared for next complicated project. PHP artisan migrate. Okay, this is done. Now the result is that when you go to your database table, you will see this field created. Okay, this is my database. Let's go to see this table has been created, and if you go inside it, you'll see that it is stored, it has automatic increment ID, and this one comes from this field. What this one does is it creates an auto increment ID field. The next one, user ID, is something which we have defined here. Since this user ID comes from this user table, okay, the ID comes from this user table. In this case, this user has an ID of 1, so we will use this ID to store here, so that we know it belongs to that particular task, belongs to that user. Okay, so this one came from here, and this to-do list, it is this one. Okay, so this one came from here, and this created an updated column is generated by Laravel by this one. Okay, so this one will create 2 fields automatically. It will create a created add and updated add field. And if you are confused about where I am getting this little methods, you can visit Laravel for that. Go to Laravel documentation, the search migration. Okay, go to this result, and once you scroll down here, see this is the increment, auto increment function here, integer. Okay, so these are a lot of functions that you can use. Okay, there are a lot of them, so you can just go here and see the timestamp method here. So that's it. I think you should spend some time here and learn more about it. Okay, now back to our application. Since we have already created our table, I think we can now begin to interact with it. Before we do that, let's create our controller. PHP partition make controller. I will just write to-dos controller. Okay, all controllers in Laravel by default goes into app http controllers folder. There are few controllers already here, but we have created this controller. For now it's totally empty. For now, if you visit our site, our main home page look like this, and since we are logged in, we can go to our dashboard. Let's go to route. This route file is used to define all our routes. Let's see, for example, when you visit home /home here, when you visit /home here, this is a get request to home route. What this is doing is it's going to home controller, which you can find in app http controllers and home controller, and it is calling index method. Okay, so if you come to home controller, you can see that it has an index method. Now in index method, it's returning a view. Okay, so this view is actually where all your HTML and CSS stays. So this view file, it is actually a file. This home, you will find a file name home somewhere around in view. So where it is located is it's located on view folder. Okay, and that view folder is inside resources. So go to resources, view, and you will see that there is one file called home.blade.php. The Blade is a templating engine that comes with Laravel and it makes our life a lot easier while working with Vue. So every Vue file, please remember that every Vue file must have extension of .blade.php. See, there is welcome.blade.php, and this welcome.blade.php is showing this page, okay, your home page. If you look at the code carefully, let's come down. Okay, you can see there is Laravel. I'll just type Laravel 5, save it, and if you come back and refresh here, you'll see that it displays Laravel 5. So all your HTMLs are here, and if you are still confused about where this is coming from, go to your web.php file, and in this file, if you notice, there is another route defined here. Okay, so this slash means the index route or your main URL. Let's say if it's your index URL, it's like something.com, that's the main URL, your entry point to site, let's say. So when you visit this URL, when you visit home URL, it will return a view of welcome. And where is this welcome view? It's inside our resources and view folder. Okay, it's in our resources, view, and we have welcome. Similarly, when you go to /home, in our case it's here. Okay, when you go to home, it will go to home controller and index page. And now if you go to home controller, you will have index method, and it's returning a view name home. And where is this file? It's in your resources, views, and home. Okay, so here it is. This is your view file. Now if you change this, see, you are logged in. If you change this, it will reflect here on your home route. Okay, I hope you are not confused about this whole thing, because just to achieve simple view, you have to set up at 3 different places. The first thing you have to do is create the route itself. Okay, you have to create the route itself, and then you have to create controller, and then you have to create view. So yeah, that's quite a lot of work, but you will get used to it. I hope you will get used to it after finishing this little project we are doing. Okay, for now what I am thinking is that I will create nothing at home page. Let it be like that. But once users log in, I will create a form here where he or she will be able to create the to-do list, and I'll display to-dos here. Okay, I think that will be okay. So I will be working a lot with this view. Now first thing I want to do here is create a form. To do that, I'll get rid of this. Okay, I think I will create a new card here. By the way guys, these are bootstrap classes. Okay, I've created a simple form here. These are bootstrap class. Okay, form group, I've created input field, and then there is a button. I think this will be it. Let's check out the result. Now what we have to do is we have to mention where this will go. That is, let's specify action first. You have to submit that data somewhere. So to say that please submit this data into some URL, what you have to do is you have to mention that here. So I will create a route and I will give it a name of todo dot create, or not, let's say store. I'm following a convention here. I will create a route with name todo dot store, and I will give it a method of post. We'll use post method to submit this form data. Now since we don't have this route, we have to create it. We have to create a post method. I want my to-dos controller to handle all this, and you have to obviously specify the method where you wanna handle that. I will give this route a name. The name I want to give is the name I have given in the form. Okay, so that is here. I have given it a name of todo dot store. Todo dot store. Maybe let's say I want to give this also a name of store. So when you refresh that, you really don't see any changes, but if you look at the page source, your form is created and it's submitting to todo slash store and method is post. Okay, now let's create that store method. To-dos controller and make a method here. In this method we will get a request object and we will handle that with this variable. Every time you are taking users data, you have to inject this request method here. Of course there is another way to do this, but for now I will use it. Let's just for now see whatever is coming from this request object. For debug purposes, there is a little function called dnd, dump and die, in Laravel, and it will dump everything here. So what I want to dump is all data from request. Now the first error is class app http controllers to-dos controller does not exist. Okay, let's see what happened here. Let's go to route. Let's just copy this. Let's paste it in case I did some typo here. And okay, it's not create, it's store method here. Okay, another error found without expecting it. Okay, now let's replace it. I want to resend that data, and now the error that I was expecting. The thing here is that it's not that explicit like the previous error. It's not saying anything, it's just saying that page has expired and anything and things like that. The error here is related to security. To secure your site from cross-site request forgery, Laravel implements a little mechanism where it checks that the actual request coming in is from authentic users. so that there is no funny business going on. Laravel implements a CSRF protection, and it's done by outputting a hidden field in your form. So every form from now on that you create inside Laravel, please include this inside form tag. You can include anywhere we want, but I will include here. So what we want to include is CSRF underscore field. Okay, that's it. Once you include it, you will see your form change. Okay, let's view the page source now. Let's go down, and here, see, this is the form before we included that. Now let's refresh it. Let's view the source, and when you go back, you can see that there is a hidden field with name of underscore token, and there is some value here. Okay, now that's done. Now let's try and submit. You can see that there are two values coming in. The first value is to do, and you have the token in your hidden field. You really have to do nothing about this. Let's just worry about the value that user has actually entered. Okay, so the result you are seeing that is because we have done this dump and die function here. Okay, that's why we are seeing this. Okay, the first thing I want to do here, it's validate that everything is good. If it's empty, you wanna tell your user that please try something, please write something before you submit, and all those nice little helpful things. To do that, you have to call this method. We want to validate it. Okay, let's close it. The thing that we want to validate is the request that's coming in, or the user data that we are receiving, and this validation logic is inside array. So just open it, and since we are receiving only one data here, which is to do, I want to make it required. Okay, if user does not type anything, I want to tell the user that please type something, it's required. Now there are, and if you are wondering where this required come from, it's provided by Laravel. If you go to Laravel documentation and search for validation, maybe this one, let's see. If you see here, there are so many things you can validate. The one that I have used is required, this one, but there are others. If you wanna check email, you can check email. Okay, if you wanna check that if it's URL, then you can use this. These are all the available validation rule for you, and if there is something that is not present here, you can always write your own validation rule, of course. So for just debugging purposes, I wanna echo out validate here and see what happens. Okay, now if I come back and submit nothing, see, it is returning back to the same page, but we are not displaying any errors. We will get into that. And specifically, if there is error on our to do field, which is this field, okay, so whatever name you have given here, it should be here. So if there is any error on name field, sorry, it's to do this field, this name, okay, so if there is any error in to do, echo out. So this double braces is equivalent to echo in PHP with some added benefit. So if there is error, add this class, and if there is no error, just add nothing. Okay, this is what it is all about. Now to display the actual error, let's go here and check if there is error. Okay, this is important. I will check if there is any error. And if and of course don't forget to end this if. I like to do it like that. I will open it and close it immediately so that I don't forget the closing part and screw up the code. And I want to display first error. From where? From our to do. Okay, I think that's it. And now if you are wondering what this first is, okay, one field might have many errors, but for now we want to display only first error. What I mean by that is, let's go to our controller. For now we have validation and we are checking for only one error it is required, but if you add here, let's say all to-dos must have minimum of, let's say, 5 characters. Okay, so there are 2 checks, and if both fail you will have 2 errors, but for now we are displaying the first error. Okay, I hope you are getting my point here. We are displaying the first error, and if that error passes we will display another error. Okay, let's check it and see if actually something happens here. Okay, let's face it, I will not submit anything, I will just edit, and you can see that we have got this error, the to-do field is required. Okay, this is required, we got error, but I think I have screwed up that bootstrap class here is invalid. Okay, now I want to check that class. Okay, this is a good time to show you where those classes are coming from. Okay, go to documentation and maybe we are searching for form. Let's go to form, and when you scroll down here, see the class I am using, form group. Okay, that form group is right here. Okay, form group. Now there is input field here, and with a class of form control, which I have given here, input with class of form control. Okay, these are all bootstrap classes, so please do visit this and learn more about these classes. Okay, now since we are looking at validation, let's jump to validation. Okay, this is the various component it has, it's listed here, and if you want to jump to individual section, I want to go to validation. Okay, so let's go to validation logic here. Okay, I think I will use this. Now this city field is invalid, so let's see how they are handling it. This city field, it has, okay, now I see it's not on form group, but this thing now goes to the input fields itself. The thing I was doing was in bootstrap 3, it used to be like that in bootstrap 3, and for bootstrap 4, which is fairly recent release, I think it's been about only 3 weeks or something like that, now they have placed it in the input field itself. The class is okay, it is invalid, but the place is wrong. So what I want to do is, I just want to cut it out. Okay, I just want to cut it out, and in form control I want to add it, so that if there is invalid it will add another class. Okay, now let's try it, hope this works. Okay, very good. Now there is little red border here, and I am still not getting that red text, so let's see. Okay, now if you check at the city, we have already done this, but it looked like the class is invalid feedback. Okay, the class is invalid feedback. Let's see how I have done. Oh sorry, it's I have said has feedback, but it is invalid feedback. Very good. Now let's try it. Okay, very good. See, now it's done. There's little error here and it is a check. Since I have input nothing here, it's showing the first error is that it is required. Now if I type only 2 characters, you see the error changes and it says please type at least 5 characters. It must be 5 character. Okay, so I think our validation is working. See, if I type anything and if it has error, the thing that was here is gone. I really don't want that. For better user experience, even if the field is invalid, you have to have that old input here. So to do that, go to your view, and in your input field add another attribute called value. Value equals to, let's just input, we want old. Okay, this will input anything that is submitted by the user. Old means the old data. Here, since it is to do, I wanna type to do here. What this will do is, if there is an old data, it will populate here in case you have some validation error and things like that. Okay, let's try it. Let's refresh it. Everything is okay. Let's submit it. It is showing error, but there is no data because I haven't input anything. Now let's input something. Let's hit to do. Now there is still error, but data is already here. Now that validation and all these things are out of our way, let's go to our controller. Now it's time to save our data. Okay, to do that there are so many ways, but for now I'm sticking to this one. To do's user ID to auth means the user which is currently logged in. I'm gonna assign it to auth users ID. Okay, and I want to assign this objects to do to the request to do. Okay, and I just want to save this. It's so easy, and this will just insert our record into that database. Now before I explain something else, let me remind you that I have used quite a few classes here. The first one is to do. This to do class is inside our model. Sorry, this to do class is our model, and this model is inside app, so we need to use it. So say use app slash to do. Okay, we are giving a full name here. It's inside app and our model name is to do, so we are using that. Another thing we are using is this auth facade, so just add it, use auth. Okay, that's it. You don't have to write a full name here or fully qualified namespace. Just write use auth and this would work. Now next thing I want to tell you is, if you are wondering where this user ID is or where this to do is coming from, let's check our database. In our database we have user ID. Okay, so it's this one. In user ID I want to store the logged in users ID. Okay, so in my case it will be this user, okay, with ID of 1. And next thing here is to do. So if you are wondering where this is coming from, it's coming from our column name. So we have a name of to do, so we are assigning that. Okay, very good. I hope you are clear about that. Now the next thing is that where is this coming from? If you are wondering that, in our request object, if you look at our form, it has a value with a name of to do. Okay, so we have requested that our data be saved, and that request data has a name of to do, so this thing is coming from there. Okay, we are importing we are using requests to do, and this save method is already available in Laravel. And let's say insert data into database without you having to write all those SQL queries. Now by this itself it should work, but I want to add a small feature here which will help you or the user to know that their data are saved and it's okay. You want to give your user a small message stating that it was saved, otherwise they might get confused or something like that. To register a message, I will use something called flash message, and it is done like this. I want to set session flash message, and the name of the message is success, since we have successfully saved that data. And the message I want to give to the user is okay. Now what I want to do is I want user to return back to where they came from. So I want to use return redirect back, so they will return back to the page where they have created this task. Okay, in some cases you will return view, and but in this case, since we are saving, and once that saving process is done, we will just return back. Okay, now I want to go back to our home view and add few more things here. It's almost done. We will see the result very soon, but let's set it up everything. Okay, since it's a success message, we have set success message, but the thing is that we haven't displayed it. So in our home file, let's display that error, and I think I will display my error here. So let's check if there is that session set. If it is set, we will display it, otherwise what's the point? Okay, so if session has, if there is a session name success, if there is a success, then what we want to do is display that message. To do that, I will create a div with class of alert and alert success. Close that div. And to display the message, again let's echo out session get success. Okay, so this success is set in our controller. Okay, see, we are setting a session with a name of success, and we are here checking to see if there is any session with name of success, and if there is, we are displaying this div and displaying whatever message there is in this success. Okay, now before I actually try it, we need to add something here. Since we are using session, okay, we need to say that we are using it, otherwise we will get class not found error. So just add this up in top area, and I think this is done. Okay, now let's check it to see if it's actually working. Okay, let's try this is first to do. Let's create it. Okay, now we are getting this success message here. If we go to our database, let's check it, and we have this record. The tax ID is 1 and it is created by user 1, and this is our data, and these two things are automatically filled by Laravel. Okay, this time by default are GMT, but if you want to change that, you have to go to app, you have to change some configuration file. I think we'll do that in more advanced projects, more advanced Laravel project, but for now I think it's okay. Okay guys, I think that's it for today. We will work on displaying those tasks here on the next video, so we are done with creating the task. Okay, bye bye and see you later.